challenge in my life, there's been a couple, they sort of meshed together. When I was 20, I started noticing that my periods were getting really, really bad. I asked my mum about it. She brushed it off, just continue with your studies or whatever. But I started realizing I'm not like other girls around that time of the month. So I did what anyone would do and went to the doctor. There's nothing wrong with you, your periods are normal. And it's even confronting just to talk about the fact that I have periods. As a female mammal, this is what happens to my body, and no one would help me with it. So I went on a few more years and started realizing it. That is fainting, blacking out, passing out, throwing up profusely, not being able to sit up around the time of the month normal. And that's when I realized, no, this can't be considered normal. So over the course of a few years, I went to about 7 different doctors before I went to a female doctor. I was assured she would listen, and sure enough she did. And after several tests and operations and things like that, I found out I had endometriosis. And thus begins my journey on the endo train, which is not something you want to get on. Endometriosis is a disease that affects the way my body produces its uterine lining. Basically, there's a few different ways it can take place, but all you really need to know is that around certain times of the month it gets bad. It's really difficult to talk to people about it because you mention the word period and then everyone freaks out, despite every second person in the world getting one once a month. But no, we can't talk about it. Even my mother was like, oh, don't tell your friends. I'm like, I think being 25 now, they've all figured out that I will eventually get my period. Even that was confronting your mother telling you, oh, don't talk about your problems. And she denied it for a while. I don't think she wanted to sort of know that it was happening. Yeah. I guess having a European background, you don't talk about the sex. It never happens. No one does it. Babies just come down with a stalk. Yeah, that's how it works. But I think after realizing, when I had to move back in with her for a little while, she realized quite how bad it was. The fact that I had to keep cancelling plans with friends, and I was petrified to book a shoot more than a month ahead because I didn't know when I was scheduled to start my period. It got really just, I couldn't function normally. So also what endo does, it will just kick in any time of the month, whether you're on your period or not. So I do not make evening plans because one thing that my endo triggers is migraines, and they are horrific. So generally after about 2 hours of starting to feel the tension in my head, I can black out or pass out from pain, which is very, very unfortunate if I have to drive somewhere and I have had to pull up on the freeway, be sick into a bush, and then just go for a nap for half an hour. So there's a lot of daily fear. And it gets to the point where you get a group of friends and you can't keep telling them, oh, I can't come over, I'm on my period. Oh yeah, but so are we. Yeah, but mine's a little bit worse than yours, and suddenly it becomes a competition. I notice that a lot of people, when it comes to periods, if you open up this topic of discussion, everyone tries to compare like apples to pears. It doesn't always work that way. You sort of stop being invited to things, and I'm always worried about going to a party in the evening just in case it gets really bad. It's definitely been difficult to get back on my feet. Being able to openly talk about my body in such an intimate way as well is always really difficult. I remember when I found out, I didn't tell my own mother. I went to my friend's house and I told his mum because she was sort of keeping tabs on me, and she burst into tears and started holding me, and being Italian, first thing she wanted to do was make me carbonara. Oh my god, yes. All of the carbonara. But I was so shocked by that reaction that she was so sad for me, and that's sort of when I realized this is a very big deal. So if I do have or decide to have children, it will be quite a struggle to fall pregnant, which is another can of worms, because the doctors won't know until I start trying. But when I want to have a child, it might be too late for my own body. So I've gone through quite a lot to get my endo under control. I even have a device that sends electric shocks down into my uterus, which is fun. I have electrocuted myself on it and started crying because I had a migraine, and when I'm at that point, even dropping a cookie will make me cry. So I was in hysteria for at least 5 minutes, and I wouldn't let my boyfriend turn off the device because I was scared he was going to shock me again. So it's just little things like that. But you learn to manage it as best you can. But it does get to the point where it does wreak havoc on my hormones. So I get cystic acne, and then you look at the mirror and you think, oh my god, that is hideous, and I look like a pepperoni pizza, and you don't want to go out, so you stay home, so you feel worse about yourself, and then by the time you're feeling okay, it's time for the next month, and you start the cycle again. So I suppose it's good now with social media opening up, especially a lot of the vintage and pin-up girls I follow. A few of them have openly posted, I think it was 2 months ago, it's Endometriosis Awareness Month, and I noticed all over my Instagram that there was more and more girls opening up about it, and some of the really big pin-up girls that I follow and then I admire turned around and said, oh, I've got this. I thought, oh my gosh, I've got that too. And even things like polycystic ovaries, which is such a untalked about thing as well, because it's a lot more visible on the outside. So it would be amazing if people could openly talk about their problems, not just once a month in a whole year span. There is help out there. You might need to try a few places. Do your own research. There are some great support groups on Facebook where you can write there, I'm in so much pain, and everyone will get it. I've had ladies on that page I've never met before offer to come and do my laundry just because I couldn't get out of bed. And so you do find networks, people understand, people with the same condition. And I suppose just keep talking about it, because eventually you'll find someone that knows someone, and I think definitely people need to know that it's quite difficult to openly talk about body parts that are strictly feminine. So, yeah, that's good.
Oh, okay.